Hello, and welcome to the Rabe Creations Crochet and Cross Stitch podcast. My name's Nicole, and I'm coming to you from Calgary, Alberta, here in Canada, where I live with my husband Barry and my beautiful, wonderful, rescued Rottweiler named Grace. So, full disclosure, this is the second time filming this video. I apologize for being a day late in getting the video up, but I had recorded the entire thing yesterday, edited, got it all ready to go, and as I was watching it before I uploaded it, I realized that the quality in the camera work was not there yesterday, and yeah, things weren't exactly in focus, let's put it that way. So I've decided to try again. So this is round 2 of this podcast. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to start out with crochet as normal, talk to you about a couple of projects that I'm working on. We will move into some cross stitch because crochet and cross stitch. I'll have some giveaways at the end, as I normally do, and some giveaway winners from last week. Yeah, and maybe a little bit of life news along the way. Who knows? We'll see how things go. So, shall we get right into it? Starting out with some of the crochet that I have been working on. Let us start out with something that you've seen before. So those of you who have been watching for a while know that I have been working on a pattern design for some mittens. And this is the lady size. This is the one that I showed you last week. I'm quite pleased with how they turned out. They are worked from the toe. You'll understand why I say that in a moment. From the fingertip down with a afterthought thumb. And the cuff is a front post, back post rib. So a very simple cuff that goes on afterwards. Now, the reason why I misspoke and called this the toe is because I'm basing the construction of these mitts on the construction of a toe-up crochet sock, thereby eliminating any of the awkwardness that tends to happen at the fingertips of mittens when you decrease to get to the closure at the top. So I was very, very happy with how the lady's mitten turned out. And with the help of my son's hand measurements, I have come up with my prototype for a man's mitten as well. So to show the two together and seeing the sizing difference between the man's and the women's. So I am getting this pattern all worked up and ready to go for release. The pattern will consist of a suggested lady size, a suggested man size, and then some directions on how you can fine-tune the mitten to fit your hand specifically. So the intent was that, you know, if you're making these as gifts or if you're making them to sell at markets, that sort of thing, that you'd be able to go with the generic sizing of a lady's mitten and a man's mitten. But if you have access to the hand with which that you are preparing your mitten for, in other words, if it's your hand or your spouse's hand or your child's hand or your friend's hand, and you can actually try them on a few times as you go, I will be providing instructions on where to make the modifications to make the mitten fit the specific hand that you're working with. So I'm very excited to get that out. I'm just putting the finishing touches right now on the written instructions. And I'm looking for some testers. So if you would be interested in testing this pattern for me, I hope to have the testers chosen and the pattern out to you by February. Let me see here. By February 7th for a potential release date of the end of February. So I'd give about 2 weeks to get some feedback on the mittens. I mean, technically, you only need to make one to give me feedback on the pattern. So if you can make one within like a 2-week period, that would be fantastic. I do request that you use a DK or sport weight yarn. I believe that is about a number 3 weight yarn. Now, normally with my patterns, you know, it's okay to experiment with different sizing and whatnot, or different sized yarns and whatnot. But for this one specifically, I want to make sure that the sizing works out well with the DK or sport weight yarn. So the yarn that I used is a Sheep Happens Merino DK. It is 100% superwash merino and has 250 yards for 115 grams. Now, for my testers, it's not a requirement that you use merino or wool yarns. You are more than welcome to use acrylic as long as the weight is a number 3, a sport or DK weight. So if you are interested in being a tester for what I am calling the Trochu mittens, please send me an email. My email is linked below, and let me know that you're interested, and I will let successful testing applicants, we'll call them, know by next Friday. So that would be February 7th. I will let everybody know who will be testing for me. So if that's something you'd like to do, please, by all means, reach out. So what else have I been working on from the crochet front? Well, I have decided to try a new technique. Now, Tunisian crochet is something that I have been interested in trying for a while, but never took the plunge. I did participate in the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted 2019, and I granted a few wishes, and I made a few of my own. And one of the requests I made were for some Tunisian hooks that I could use. And one of the people who responded to my request for Tunisian hooks was Hannah from the Cozy Cottage Crochet. Hi, Hannah, if you're watching. She has done some really great work with Tunisian crochet over the past couple of years, including some designing, and has been a bit of an inspiration to me in picking up Tunisian crochet. And she sent me a set of Tunisian crochet hooks. So this is showing the hook within the project. They are an interchangeable Tunisian crochet hook set. So let me push this down a little bit. You can see that there's the hook. And there's the cord where it attaches, and it's interchangeable, which means that there's a number of different hooks and different cords that can be attached to them. At the end of the cord is a little stopper so that the work doesn't fall off the end. So far, I'm having good success with these. I really do like them. Thank you so much, Hannah. They have found a great home. Yeah, the yarn seems to slide nicely. Nothing is getting really hooked up. The only thing I will say is that the cord can be a little unwieldy at times. I am using the smallest cord here. I didn't start out with the smallest cord, and that was a mistake because it was getting all wound up and everything else. But I have started out, or I'm now working with the smallest cord. So let me show you what I've done. First off, I'll let you know that I am using just impeccable acrylic yarn. It is a Loops and Threads yarn that's available at Michael's. And it is, let me see here, 285 yards to 4.5 ounces, or 260 meters to 127.5 grams. It's a medium number 4 weight. Yeah, and just 100% acrylic. It's the yarn that I use most often for making my amigurumis. So, what project am I making? Out of the Simply Crochet issue number 67, I found a great little pattern for a beginning Tunisian crochet project. And this is it here. It is a cushion. The body of the cushion is made in 2 panels, a front panel and a back panel. And they are connected together with a regular crochet, a crochet border. Now, the interesting thing about this is the decoration on the pillow is done in cross stitch. And I figured that would be an awesome blend of my two favorite things, crochet and cross stitch. Now, I'm not planning to do this sort of gardeny theme on my pillow. I'm thinking more like pine trees and that sort of thing, but it will be done in the cross stitch style. So let me show you where I've gotten to. So this is by no means perfect. I've lost stitches, my tension's a little all over the place, but so far I'm pretty happy with what I've got. So this is the, let me see here, front side of the pillow, or the pillow panel. Probably the back of the pillow because there's a few mistakes in it. But as you can see, it rolls up on itself. That is rather indicative of Tunisian crochet. It has this really specific pattern, a very structured look to Tunisian crochet on the front side. And then the back side sort of looks like purling in knit. So far, so good. Like I said, it's a new technique, so my tension's a little bit all over the place. And yes, I dropped some stitches along the way, but that's all right because you know what? I'm learning something new and I'm pretty excited about it. If you've ever tried Tunisian crochet, let me know about it down below. And if it's something that you'd like to try, I say go for it. It's not nearly as difficult as I thought it was going to be. The most challenging thing for me with Tunisian crochet is I have a condition called hyperhidrosis, which means that I tend to have really, really sweaty palms. Great, right? But it doesn't bother me so much in regular crochet because I'm holding my hook and I'm holding there's not as much connection between me and the yarn itself, just a little bit. With Tunisian crochet, I'm finding that, as you can see here, I'm having to work back, and this hand is in constant contact with large amounts of yarn, and it's, as long as my hands are doing okay, it's not too bad. But if I start having some real issues with my hyperhidrosis, I have to put it aside because it gets very uncomfortable and the project gets, well, for lack of a better term, wet, because I can produce that much moisture. So that is my only sort of so far not so great feedback about Tunisian crochet. Now, albeit right now I am only working the simple stitch in Tunisian crochet. I haven't tried any of the stitches beyond a simple stitch. So I'm sort of looking at it as if I am doing it in a, like almost as if I was making a project just using single crochet. And I'll try some different stitches once I get comfortable with the hook and the tension and all of that stuff. So yeah, there is my newest project on the hook, and a new technique as well. So I'm pretty excited about that. Alrighty, I am going to pause for one moment and come back and we can talk a little bit about some cross-stitch projects that I'm working on, and then move on to giveaways. So I'll be right back. All right, friends. So moving into a little bit of cross stitch. Now I know not everybody here is into the cross stitch, but for those of you who stick around and watch through the cross stitch as well, thank you so much. And I am so excited to hear about how many people were cross stitchers in the past and are considering taking it up again, or have never tried it before but are being inspired to try something new, because to me the celebration of craft is often about trying new things and branching out and, you know, just funneling that creative energy into new and exciting projects. And I hope that's what's happening with the cross stitch for you. So let me show you what I have been working on. So starting out with my full coverage piece. So this piece is called Crow. It is a full coverage piece by Stony Knob Farm Patterns. It looks like what they've done is taken a photograph of a crow and converted it into cross stitch, which is kind of cool because it's going to have that real photorealistic look to the finished project. And let me see, for the crow, I have put 426 stitches into this project this week. I'm just going to get something to put in behind it here. There you are. So that's where I'm at. I am working this piece on 14 count white Aida in all the called for DMC floss. As you can see right now, it looks like just splotches of color. And if I show you here, I am working in this top corner. So it's sort of like that background behind the crow. The crow will be more here in this space. All right. Oops. So moving on. Let me pull out what's living in this project bag. So this is the Witchy Stitcher, who is a Canadian cross-stitch designer. And this is her vintage Happy Halloween. This is a picture of the front. And let me show you where I'm at. So on Happy Halloween, I put in 143 stitches. There would have been more, but I did have to do a little bit of tearing out of stitches and redoing stitches because my counts were off. So this is where I've gotten to. I believe last time I hadn't gotten much of this ear or this side done, and this is actually where I did have to do some repairs, so to speak. It is worked in DMC floss, both regular floss and atoll floss, which is a sparkly. It's got some stellina in it. And right now, the orange, a little bit of orange in the ear and along the top of the eye, the orange on the top of the eye, are that stellina, are that atoll. I will have some black and some ecru, so off-white, in that sparkle as well in the finished piece. I really, really like the vintage feel of this. This is definitely right up my alley, so I'm quite excited about this piece. And again, the Witchy Stitcher is on Etsy if you're interested in checking out any of her designs. She does really neat stuff. All right, so next up we have, oh no, that's the last one I'm going to show you. Next up we have Find the Witch Within. I talked to you a little bit about this last time. It is a pattern by Junebug and Darlin. That is the small little cover picture I can show you. This was a kit that was purchased for me by my son and daughter-in-law for Christmas. And it is my my first time working on black Aida, which is a little more difficult than working on white Aida, but not much for me. I'm quite enjoying it, actually. So I've actually got a lot done in this one. I put in 511 stitches. Last time I showed this to you, I believe I had just finished within. So I've put in the rest of the words and started the motif along the bottom. I really like how this is turning out. And this is a 14 count black Aida. I am working it in all of the things that came with the kit. So the cloth, the floss, everything is exactly as kitted. Now, Junebug and Darlin have an Etsy shop, but they also have their own webpage. If you're interested in looking, I will link that below. My son and daughter-in-law actually found this at a local yarn store. So they're working with some physical brick and mortar stores as well to carry some of their product. So that's been a fun stitch. Up next is Autumn Tree by Barbara Anna Designs. This is one of my favorite pieces right now. So this is the cover page, and I've shown this to you before. So it's that really whimsical design. Little girl down in the corner. There's a fox. There's some crows. There's some tree. There's some houses in the tree and keys hanging down and acorns and some mushrooms. I just really love the whimsical feel of this piece. So in this piece, I have put in 302 stitches, and it's coming along smashingly, I have to tell you. So the fabric that I'm using is a linen, and it's a 28 count linen that I got from a Etsy seller, hand dyed by Rolanda, and she also is a Canadian supplier of cross stitch goodies out of Toronto, I believe. I'm quite enjoying working on this linen. I'm getting more used to it now. It's getting a little easier to see where my stitches are supposed to go. It was a bit of a challenge at first, moving from Aida to linen. And I still prefer Aida. 18 count Aida is my ultimate favorite, but I'm really liking how this one has turned out. So I believe since last time we talked, I've put in this branch and the things on that branch, so the squirrel and the mushroom and the leaves. And I've also just added this branch in. There's going to be another house down here, another mushroom down here, so all kinds of neat stuff going on there. Now, I'm working this in DMC floss. I believe it's all the called for colorways as well. The fabric is a little bit darker than the fabric that was used for the model piece on the pattern, but I'm quite liking how it's turning out. Alrighty, so the last thing I have to show you is kind of exciting because it is another new cross-stitch pattern that I am developing. So it is called Wish Upon a Snowflake. I can't show you a cover picture because there isn't one yet. The cover picture is going to be the finished piece once I finish stitching it. And let me see. So this is where I have gotten so far. And as I said, it's called Wish Upon a Snowflake. I am working this right now in an 18 count Aida fabric, hand dyed by me. So this had been a piece of tan Aida, and I wanted it to be a more blue, splotchy blue, and I hand dyed it myself, and I am very, very pleased with the results. So as you can see, it started out with a snowflake border. The font is a rather decorative font. It says Wish Upon a Snowflake. The border will go all the way around, and then there's some, of course, things going on in the middle. Now this design is much bigger than the Valentine one that I did. The difference is the Valentine chart I stitched on to 14 count Aida, and this is 18 count. So the higher the count number, the smaller the stitches. Yeah, so this would be significantly larger than the Valentine one if I had worked it on the same count of fabric. But I am really, really liking this one. It is all charted in DMC, and there is one bit of it that is in a sparkly floss as well. It's a DMC, but it is the DMC. Oh, it's not a toile; it's the other one. It's like Crying Egg, but the DMC version. I can't remember what it's called, but it's sparkle, and you'll see that as it comes along. So I'm hoping to have this chart available hopefully by mid to end February. and you'll get to see the progress as it comes along. So speaking of hand-dyed fabric, I've had a really good time experimenting with hand-dying fabric for cross stitch, and I believe it will probably be my next venture in the Etsy shop. So within the next week or so, expect to see some unique, one-of-a-kind hand-dyed fabrics available in my Etsy shop. Yeah, so if that's something you're interested in, come on, take a look and see what I have to offer. My link to my shop is down below. I also have project bags in there. All my patterns are in there as well. If you're interested in the crochet patterns and you're on Ravelry, they're also available through there. So that was kind of a good segue, because I need to say thank you to everyone who has shown interest in my cross stitch pattern that I released last week, the Valentine's cross stitch. It so warms my heart that people have decided to go ahead and take a chance on it. And yeah, it's very, very exciting to see people working on it. So thank you so much. So that takes me to the end of the cross stitch bit. I am going to pause just one more time, and when I come back, we'll talk a little bit about the giveaways from last week. So I'll announce the winners and let you know what the giveaways will be for this week. So I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. It is giveaway time. Hooray! So, as I always do in every video, there is a little bit of a giveaway intended for viewers of the podcast. That's why I pop them at the end. So if you have stuck around so far, thank you so much, and I will let you know about last week's giveaways. So last week I had two giveaways. I had the crochet cards all-in-one kit that was included in one of the issues of Crochet Now magazine. The kit does include everything you need to make two cards. So it's got envelopes, cards, stickers, and the yarn to make the two cards. It will, of course, also come with the directions. The winner of the card kit is Diane L. Bromlett. I hope I am saying that correctly. Diane, when you see this, please send me an email to derobcreations@shaw.ca. I'll put it down below in the description box as well. Send me an email and let me know your mailing address, and I will get that in the mail to you. Thank you so much for watching and commenting, Diane. I'm happy that you won. And the second giveaway from last week was the butterfly hoop kit, and it is a cross stitch kit that came out of one of the Cross Stitch Crazy magazines. It comes with the chart, the floss, the hoop, the fabric, and a needle. So everything you need to complete this project. The winner of the cross stitch kit is Nan's Next Knots. Congratulations, Nancy, you won. And I already have your address, so no worries, I'll get that out in the post to you. Congratulations on winning. Yay! All right, so what's the giveaway for this week? Well, I thought I would mix it up just a little bit, change things up a tad. So if you've watched this podcast, if you've watched me for a while, first off, thank you. Secondly, I'm sorry for any craziness that's gone on. But if you've watched for a while, you know I have an Etsy store, you know I have Ravelry, and you know I list my patterns. I believe right now I have 6 published crochet patterns, nearly 7, with the mittens coming out soon, and 1 lonely cross-stitch pattern, which will be 2 by the end of February. All of the patterns are listed in the Etsy shop, and all of the crochet patterns are also in Ravelry. So, what's that got to do with today's giveaway? I am giving away 2 patterns. So I will make a draw next week for 2 lucky winners to go to my Etsy shop and pick out one of the patterns that you would like, and those will be gifted to you. So 2 winners, each will be able to pick one of my patterns, and I will gift that to you. I hope this is a good giveaway. I don't know. I've never tried to do a giveaway of my patterns before, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully you're very interested. And it doesn't matter whether you pick a crochet pattern or the cross stitch pattern. That's completely up to you. I will gift you either, whatever you choose. Alrighty, so that is the giveaway for next week. How do you enter? In order to enter the giveaway for next week, I'll need you to like the video. I need you to go down below and hit the thumbs up. You need to be a subscriber, please. That would be great. I'll also have you answer a question. Let me see. What should the question be? Oh, I know. How about what are you most looking forward to this spring? What is most, or not even this spring, 2020. It's still the very beginning of the year. What are you most looking forward to this year? Do you have a big plan for this year? Is there a big event happening this year? What's your big thing for 2020? Let me know down below, and I will make the draw for those 2 prizes next week. I should also say that I need you to be 18 so that you can give me your address. That this giveaway is by no means affiliated with anybody but me. It is not sponsored by anybody but me. It's me, just me. I think that's all I have for you this week. Thank you so much. Again, I apologize for being a day late, but technology, what can I say? Doesn't always get along with me. So until next week, be kind to yourself. Take some time to do some self-care. We know how important that is. Be kind to each other. We're what we've got, people. Let's band together. Let's lift each other up. Let's celebrate each other's successes. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to each other. And I'll see you next week. Bye now.